So the Royal Rumble 2025 has officially come and gone. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania 41. I'm excited. It is currently 4:03 in the morning. I was going to do this video the next day on Sunday, but I could not sleep. I've been buzzing about this show since it ended, and the press conference itself as well. I've been buzzing. I couldn't sleep. I took a shower, still couldn't sleep, and even in the shower, I just kept thinking about the show, This is a show that's really kind of weighing on me and making me think a lot. So I figured, you know what, screw it. It's 4 in the morning, and I'll get some sleep after this. But let me just make this video right now, because I also think these are going to be my initial thoughts before I think too much about it and overthink and go all the way in. Let's get this initial thoughts, and if I want, maybe make another video or include it in an OTS Project episode with my cousin Theo, where we kind of maybe get more in depth after we've really thought about it, and maybe a couple Raws and SmackDowns have passed. But these are my initial thoughts on the 2025 Royal Rumble. So before I start, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm really trying to grow a community here between my channel and the OTS Project that I do every week with my cousin Theo. And yeah, if you have any opinions, again, these are not the end-all be-all of opinions. These are my personal opinions. So if you don't agree, please be nice in the comments. Don't go crazy. Let's have a nice discussion about it. If you have a different opinion, or maybe something I missed, or something you would have liked to see, put it in the comments. Let's have a talk. Let's build this community up. Let's do something cool. So starting off, the show started off with the Women's Rumble. Charlotte Flair won. That was my prediction. It wasn't who I wanted to win, I guess. It wasn't my personal choice of who I wanted to win. It was more my kind of thought out process of who I think was going to win. I kind of figured Charlotte Flair was going to win. My personal choice, who I would have wanted to win, was maybe Io Sky or Roxanne Perez. Even though she wasn't announced, I figured she would be in there, and I knew it wasn't going to happen that she would win, but I always thought that would be cool. She is my favorite, so I would have liked for her to win. Speaking of her, though, she didn't win. She was in the Rumble, and yeah, she didn't win, but I mean, she kind of did the second best that she could do without winning. She was the Iron Woman of this match. That completely threw me off guard. Her music hit. I was really excited. I was happy that she was in the match, even though we all kind of figured she would be. It wasn't too much of a surprise. But what the surprise was that she was the Iron Woman. She came in at number 3, and she was literally the final 2. Someone from NXT, although she's super close, pretty much on the edge of the door. She's kind of standing in the doorway of the main roster call-up there, feuding with Bayley, and maybe a possible match with her at WrestleMania, or something regarding the two of them WrestleMania weekend that will probably get Roxanne on the main roster by the end of WrestleMania 41 or the WrestleMania 41 weekend. So she's in the doorway, but she's still in NXT, so she's from NXT, and she basically is the first person to really go to distance. There have been women from NXT and men from NXT that have been in these Rumbles, but none of them have really gone the full distance like that. She literally was the last person in the ring with Charlotte Flair. I thought that was incredible. She also is now a history maker. She broke a record for the longest amount of time a woman has spent in the Royal Rumble, so that's another thing. I'm not sure if they planned that. I don't know if when they said, hey, we want you to be the Iron Woman, if they said, we're going to make sure you're in for this amount of time so that you do break this record, or if it just kind of happened. I feel like it probably just kind of happened. I don't think they were planning that far ahead or that meticulously, that they were like, let's make sure that she breaks the record. It was probably just something that kind of happened along the way, and someone noticed really fast, like, hey, so-and-so had the record for the longest, and Roxanne just kind of beat it. Either way, though, it's really cool. It's really awesome. That's such a really cool accomplishment for her. Again, someone that is not even technically on the main roster yet and has been in this Rumble, was the runner-up in the Rumble, and has now become the longest running, I guess, the longest amount of time, the woman with the longest amount of time spent in a single Rumble match. So that, by the time she gets called up, that's two really big, I guess, kind of accomplishments, along with her NXT title runs, that can be really kind of harped on and shown that this girl is not a joke. So that made me really happy. Again, she is my favorite. Her and Dakota Kai, for me, are like here. They're tied for number 1 as my favorite women's wrestlers currently. So yeah, I was super happy about that. Really, really happy, and really, I guess, just cool to see that, you know, my favorite female wrestler currently is really kind of held in high regard. Obviously, Triple H and Shawn Michaels have a lot of respect and a lot of trust in her. Moving on, we have the surprises, I guess we could say, and you could count Roxanne as a surprise, although I kind of wouldn't, because we kind of figured she was already going to be in there. But Lash Legend, another one who you could count as a surprise, but I kind of figured she or Jakara may have been in there, because there are two other ones that are also kind of standing in the doorway of the NXT to main roster transfer kind of doorway there. They're standing in that doorway with Roxanne. They're up on SmackDown. They're on NXT. So again, I would imagine by the time that WrestleMania weekend has gone, that they will also probably be officially on the main roster. So it wasn't a surprise that she was in there, but it was something that wasn't announced and something that she may have not been a part of. So it is cool to see that she was in there. Speaking of, though, NXT, there was some female NXT representation. All three, all three, not including Lash and Roxanne. The other three, I guess I should say, that were in there representing NXT: Jada Parker, Stephanie McCourt, and the NXT Women's Champion Julia. Three incredible talents that I love. Three of my favorites, along with Roxanne, when it comes to the NXT talent. I was super excited to see all three of these girls come through. And I would say they were surprises. I know there was some rumors that Jada Parker was in town, so I did see something like that. So it wasn't too over the top. When her music hit, I kind of went. I did react, but I also was like, okay, yeah. I figured Stephanie and Julia, I don't remember seeing anything about them being in town. So the fact that they came through, I definitely popped when their music hit. You got Jordynne Grace, who isn't an NXT superstar technically, but is now a WWE superstar. Who came through. This is her second Rumble. Last year, she came through as a TNA Knockout and the TNA Knockouts champion, and she came through the forbidden door, I guess you could say. Now she has officially walked and signed the papers, dotted the I's, crossed the T's on a WWE contract. So she's officially a WWE superstar, and she enters the Rumble as a WWE superstar, and I guess her first official match as a WWE superstar. Jordynne Grace is someone that has grown on me. I wasn't a big fan of her. Her work I thought was okay, but I don't know. It just didn't really connect with me. But the more I've kind of watched her, the more I've seen some interviews. I watched the Chris Van Vliet interview that she just did. I'm kind of, I guess, getting to know her a little bit more, and she's grown on me. I've become a fan of her, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do in WWE. She had a pretty good showing in this Rumble. But I think that was a big takeaway. Again, not too surprising. I feel like people kind of predicted she would be there. I know there was a whole thing that she was saying in that interview with CVV that she wasn't going to be in there and that she had to plan her mother's birthday party or something like that for Rumble weekend. So I hope you didn't lie to your mother there, Jordan. I hope you're celebrating next weekend or this week or something like that, or maybe you lied to us and her birthday's not even near. I don't know, but I hope if her birthday is around, I hope you celebrate it very soon and give your mom some love. But I really, really, really liked that she came through. Again, wasn't too surprising. A lot of people kind of predicted she would be in there, along with myself. I kind of assumed she would be in there. But I think at this point, too, to add to it, I think she goes straight to main roster. I think the NXT women's division is so stacked that it doesn't need her. I feel like it would just be too much at this point. You have, again, Stephanie McCourt, Julia. You still have Roxanne down there. You have Cora Jade, Sol Ruca, Kalani Jordan, Jada Parker. You got a lot down there, and you have more that are even, about to kind of come up and be on NXT TV and whatnot. I don't think Jordynne Grace is going to NXT. I think she's going straight to main. I think this was kind of similar to Jade Cargill last year. I think this was her her official debut on the main roster and her official debut in WWE. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do. I don't know if she's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. Maybe that similar again to what they did before Jade debuted. Maybe they'll kind of tease it for a couple weeks of where's Jordynne going to go. Maybe is she going to go to NXT? Is she going to go to Raw? Is she going to go to SmackDown? I'm not sure, but I am very excited to see what she's going to do. Alexa Bliss, another surprise. This one, this was a true surprise. I feel like again, this was another situation where people talked about it, but it wasn't as likely, I guess, or people weren't as certain that it would happen. Whereas someone like Jordynne Grace, people were like, I don't know, she just signed that contract. 99% sure she's gonna be in that match. When it comes to Alexa Bliss, I don't know. I did see people talking about it. It was a rumor and a theory and whatnot, and I know she was kind of teasing it. She posted, I think, a selfie with her kid, her newborn baby, a couple days ago, and said this is all I need or something like that. And some people were like, oh, see, okay, she's not in it. And then there were some people that were like, we're on to you. We know how wrestlers work. You guys are lying to us. I think she even posted a story this morning or something like that of her sitting in her living room, saying, kind of trying to show that she was home. Whereas obviously that photo is probably from days, weeks, months, years ago or something. I don't know. She was trying to throw everybody off the trail. And so when her music hit, huge reaction, great reaction. I'm not sure where she goes from here. I'm not sure what the plan is. I obviously would imagine Triple H has an idea. I know there was the rumor that she was supposed to be on the January 13th Raw. I think it was the 13th Raw, and things were changed because something about her contract was coming up, or his contract had come up or something like that. And I guess WWE was, I guess, under the impression she was going to come to back to work with the same kind of contract in place, whereas Alexa and her management team, or her agents or whatever, were under the impression that they would work out a new deal before she kind of came back. I don't know how true that was because she obviously came back, so maybe it was true, and they were able to figure something out really fast for her to be able to be in there. I mean, look at CM Punk. When he returned, that deal came together literally minutes before he walked out at Survivor Series. So when it comes to Alexa, maybe that was the case, and they kind of were able to come to an agreement very fast so that she could be in the Rumble. Or maybe it wasn't true at all. I'm not sure. But story-wise, I'm not sure where she kind of goes from here. Because, and it's not hating on her. I like Alexa Bliss. I'm not hating on her. I'm just thinking logistically, there's a lot of talent on SmackDown and there's a lot of talent on Raw. We can kind of see where the directions are going to go here for WrestleMania and things like that when it comes to the titles and other storylines. So I would imagine that they're probably going to work her into the Wyatt Six. I would hope. I feel like that's probably the best case scenario. Me personally, I'd rather see Alexa Bliss get kind of added into the Wyatt Six and continue to, honor Wyndham's legacy rather than her go into some random storyline as just Alexa Bliss against, Pure Fusion Collective or Damage Control or something. I'd rather see her in the Wyatt Six. Maybe even something I thought of that would be kind of cool. Maybe her and Nikki Cross go after the tag titles once she's fully ingrained into the Wyatt Six. Maybe her and Nikki Cross kind of team up together again and they go after the tag titles. I think that would be kind of cool and a great way to get them both on WrestleMania. Which, speaking of, I'm theorizing, but I do want to do like a WrestleMania prediction, WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2 card prediction. So they might be on there somewhere. That was some brainstorm I had. But, yeah, I'm not sure where she goes. I'm not sure where the story goes for her. But I would like to see her in the Wyatt Six rather than in just random storylines and her kind of just being the goddess. Next surprise, Trish Stratus. This was a big one. I'm not sure. I'm a little conflicted on this one. I love Trish Stratus. No hate to her. I love her. She's a legend. She's one of the best female wrestlers ever, for sure. I'm not sure. I kind of felt like, not that it was a wasted spot at all. Obviously, she can do whatever she wants, but something where we've kind of seen her. I kind of going into these Rumbles, I want something different. I want surprises, but I want something different. So I don't want to see, when it comes to the women's Rumbles, again, I'm not hating on them, and I'm not saying it's a burden to see them at all. I don't mind. I always, enjoy seeing them, but I would like to see, instead of just a Trish Stratus and Alita and a Bella's, which is coming up in a second, or, people that I feel like there's a little group of women that have constantly been in these Rumbles, which makes sense. Again, they're big surprises because they're huge names, but I don't know, I just would have liked to see someone like a Victoria. I think I said in a prediction on one of our OTS projects that I would have loved to see her, like someone like that who's not constantly kind of in the circle. I think Victoria may have been in one Women's Rumble, maybe that 2021 one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like she was. But something like that where I'm just like, I would like to maybe see her. Maybe she's not as big of a name as Trish Stratus, but I don't know. I just like seeing different stuff. The last surprise I have on here, obviously, is Nikki Bella. Same thing where I want something different, but this also is a different scenario because originally I kind of thought, okay, this is just the Rumble appearance. She's here in number 30, and she's just going to kind of, show up for this and whatnot. But there was a report that she was gearing up for a return, but I guess people weren't sure if it was just for a Rumble thing or an actual return. So when she came out, I was like, okay, maybe it is just the Rumble spot. But she did do the commentators were kind of leaning towards it, but she also did like one of those post-match interviews on YouTube or whatever, where she made it pretty clear that she's back. It was not like a one-time thing. She's back for, I guess, one last run. I don't even know if we can say one last run. Because in 5 more years, her and Brie could come back as a team or something. I'm not sure. So I don't know if they're branding this as one last run. But in general, it does seem like she is back in the fold. Which, again, adding to the Alexa thing, it's like, okay, now where do we put Nikki Bella? Because, again, there's a bunch of women talent on both shows that I feel like sometimes they struggle to find enough room for the women's talent that they have. Someone like a Blair Davenport, who is a great wrestler, who is on SmackDown and gets pretty much no TV time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who else is going to kind of get bumped out now because Nikki Bella might be going to SmackDown, Again, not hating on it. I just think it's interesting, and I fully believe in Triple H. I'm not questioning Triple H or anything like that. I just question, like, the level and the numbers, I guess, of the talent that's there, where even when you have a 3-hour SmackDown or a 3-hour Raw or something like that, it still seems like I'm not sure if we're going to be able to fit everybody in there. So it will be interesting to see where Alexa Bliss, Jordynne Grace, and Nikki Bella kind of fit into the fold of Raw and SmackDown, because again, I think Jordan Grace is going straight to main roster. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where the three of them land, which brands they'll be on, and how often they'll be featured. Because for all we know, someone like a Nikki Bella could be on like a somewhat part-time schedule. I'm not sure if that's the case, or if she's going to be back every week for, however long. But maybe a part-time kind of thing would be kind of cool. I feel like that might be a little easier to manage, where she comes in, she works at WrestleMania, she might disappear for a little bit, come back, work SummerSlam. She might work maybe another PLE along the way, like she might work a Crown Jewel for a title or something like that. That might be a little easier to kind of factor into the plans and have her involved, rather than her there every week and trying to find room for, if she's on Raw, now we have to find room for Nikki Bella, Liv and Raquel, Rhea. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a good amount of people there where Triple H has to figure it all out, I guess. But yeah, so that's the Women's Rumble. Charlotte Flair won. That was my prediction. It wasn't my want, but it was my kind of, I figured it was going to happen. So yeah, it was the Women's Rumble. Highlight of that to me was Roxanne. Again, she's my favorite, so her being the Iron Woman, her being in it and just in general would have made me happy, but her being the Iron Woman and making it to the end and officially breaking the record for a woman, a female superstar, to have the longest amount of time in a single Royal Rumble, making history, is really, really cool. So yeah. Tag title match, 2 out of 3 falls. As you can see, I'm wearing a Motor City Machine Gun shirt. They are my favorite tag team of all time. I cannot stress this enough. I say this at every opportunity that I get. Everyone that's my friend or even family knows that Motor City Machine Guns are my favorite tag team of all time. So I've been on the hype train here. I've been super excited to see them finally in WWE, something I never thought would happen. So this was really big for me. I was joking with my cousin earlier when we were watching it that this seems like it was a PLE that Triple H booked for me, with Roxanne Perez in such a big spot and Motor City Machine Guns having their PLE debut, I believe, in another big spot. They had a good amount of time. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. It wasn't a 5-minute, 8-minute, tag team title match on the PLE that they just threw in there. They gave them time. They let those guys cook. As the match progressed, they started getting crazier, started doing, bigger and better spots. It was really good. I was telling my cousin and my friend Wyatt that I believe this match was the match that's going to kind of really, really, really cement the Motor City Machine Guns in WB, because there's way more eyes. I mean, you had 70,000 people in that building, and then everybody that's watching, I don't know the number of people watching, but we'll say, there's a good amount of people that are watching on Peacock, compared to a Friday Night SmackDown, where there's wrestling fans that don't watch Raw and SmackDown every week. Some of them just tune in every once in a while, or they only tune in for the PLEs. So to me, I was like, yeah, this is the real defining match for Motor City Machine Guns. It's not, a 10-minute match on SmackDown. This is them having time, having a stipulation against a team that they can really go to town with. So yeah, I think that's the epitome of this match. This is Motor City's real kind of, showcase. This was really hey, here's the biggest scale we've put this tag team on so far, and I think they delivered. I think the match was incredible. Street Profits with the interference. I absolutely wanted Motor City to win. That was my pick, but they did not. DIY won, as Street Profits came in to interfere there and help DIY win, which then they attacked DIY after the match to kind of show that they weren't really helping them win. I think it's more so they want to beat DIY because of all the kind of shit that they've gone through. So yeah, I thought it was a great match. The ending made so much sense, even though, again, I'm a Motor City fan. I wanted them to win. It still made sense as to what was going on with the Street Profits. I'm glad to see the Street Profits back. I like them, and it felt like they were kind of getting stale for a little bit, and then it also felt like, I think as it was clear, it felt like, okay, there's some frustration or something like that. They're not being used when they obviously should be. So yeah, I really enjoyed them being involved. I'm enjoying the fact that they're going to be back. And another thing where maybe triple threat, fatal 4-way with another team at WrestleMania, something like that, I'm not sure. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. The ladder match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. That's a very long name. They should just call it the WWE Championship, and I think I'm just going to call it the WWE Championship because that's what it is. Cody Rhodes won. That was my prediction. I thought it would be cool if they went crazy and swerved everybody and had Kevin Owens win. That would have threw a crazy wrench in the plans for WrestleMania, but it did not happen, and I didn't think it was going to happen. I just would love a nice swerve, which we did get later in the next match. Yeah, Cody won. Makes sense. Those guys went through hell. The damn Fisherman neckbreaker off the top through the ladder on Cody. That thing looked like it hurt like hell. Obviously, the big spot, the Alabama Slam off the announce table through the ladder. That was crazy. Kevin looked like he died. He landed straight on his head and then was just laying there with his legs behind his head basically for minutes on end. I felt like maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't see the full story there, but I felt like the Sami Zayn interference could have been more. It seemed like, and again, maybe I missed something. I do watch SmackDown every week, but sometimes I'm not fully paying attention, so maybe I missed something. Maybe I thought it was more serious than it was, but it felt like it was pretty serious, where Kevin was kind of saying, help me. I think that was more on Raw than SmackDown, but either way, I watch everything every week, but I'm not fully paying attention at all times. Like, I'm a human being, so I kind of check my phone or whatever. So yeah, so maybe I missed something, but I felt like maybe it should have been more. I felt like when they were talking, it was kind of him stressing, like, kind of help me out here, make sure I win, because then I'm going to make sure that we main event WrestleMania together, fighting over the WWE Championship like we have always wanted since we were like teenagers, basically, So I felt like the Sammy situation could have been a little bit more. Obviously, they weren't going to turn Sammy heel, so I'm not expecting anything like that, but maybe more conflicted on where Sammy came out, and it felt like Sammy was just kind of standing around. I feel like maybe it should have been more. Sammy's a little conflicted on if he should help Kevin. Maybe there's a point where they're both down, and he's thinking, should I climb up there and grab those belts and hand them to Kevin? Maybe I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like he should have been more, I don't know, what should I do? I'm conflicted. I want to help my friend. I would love that match, but it's not right. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. It felt like he was kind of out there, and he kept checking on Kevin, but other than that, like, it didn't really seem like he was involved. It didn't seem like he had much of a role in the match. So I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more there. And again, maybe I missed something. Maybe it wasn't as deep as I thought it was, but I would have liked to see, I guess, kind of a little bit more there. But maybe this kind of sets up to Kevin versus Sammy at WrestleMania. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, you have Randy Orton where you have to factor in, and obviously when he has to come back, you would imagine he's going straight after Kevin too. So I'm not sure what Triple H's plans are, but I felt like maybe you could do another, I would be all for seeing Kevin versus Sammy at WrestleMania again, where, the roles were reversed, I think, when they faced in 2021, I believe. I believe Kevin was the babyface and Sammy was the heel, because it was when Sammy was doing the conspiracy stuff. So now they wrestle at WrestleMania against each other, and the roles are reversed, and Sammy's the babyface, Kevin's the heel. So I'd be all for it. Maybe that's the thing. I feel like Kevin could kind of blame Sammy in the way of, like I just said, why didn't you help me? You didn't even care. You were just kind of standing there asking me if I was okay. Why didn't you try and pick me up? Why didn't you go climb the ladder? And while I'm down and I got Alabama slammed through a ladder, why did you not stop Cody? Why did you not climb up the ladder, grab the belts, and hand them to me so we can main event? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Kevin can constantly find some sort of way to still blame Sammy for not really helping him, So maybe that's where they go. Maybe that's the plan of they're going to do another Kevin versus Sammy at WrestleMania. I'm all for it if that's the case. It also seemed like there may have been some sort of teasing with Cody. Maybe he's getting to his wit's end here. Cody is supposed to be the kind of, I guess, patriot in a way. He's supposed to be Captain America. He's supposed to be full of honor and, things like that, honor and valor. He's the good guy. He's the new John Cena, basically. Like, he's supposed to be the good guy. But it seems like every match that goes by, Cody might be inching closer and closer and closer to kind of his breaking point. You know what I'm saying? Kind of his, okay, I'm done. I'm being nice to everybody, and everyone keeps jumping me and attacking me, and the fans are behind me, but they don't, give me a break. They want me to constantly defend this title, and they want me to constantly put everything on my back, and maybe I just want to take a nap one day, and they don't want me to take a nap. They want me to take a photo instead of getting on the bus and taking, something like that, where he's at his breaking point with the rosters, and he's also kind of at his breaking point with the fans demanding too much or something like that, and that's where we might get Homelander Cody that everyone's been kind of joking about, but seemingly could happen. I mean, we've seen Cody on the Indies, and he was kind of crazy with that heel run when he was, a heel in Ring of Honor, and he won by low-blowing Jay Lethal and whatnot. It was really cool, and he was just off the cuff. He was insane. He was kind of psycho, and he was, just so edgy. It was pretty cool. So heel Cody could definitely work. I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like Cody, again, is the John Cena, the new John Cena. You can see him in the background there. I feel like he is the new John Cena, and I feel like that's the appeal of the top guy, is that, or at least the top guy, the top babyface, is that they don't have to work heel, that they kind of stay a babyface because those merch checks are nice, and I'm pretty sure WWE enjoys the fact that Cody is selling crazy amounts of merch, which even when he turns heel, they're still going to be selling merch. Obviously, he'll probably still be up there, but it's going to be a little, I guess, less, because it's not as likely that, they're going to be making, I guess, plushies of Cody Rhodes now because he's telling kids that they're stupid or something like that. I'm not sure, but it did seem like we're getting towards maybe a heel Cody. Maybe he's not going to turn heel. Maybe it's going to be more just he's aggressive, or maybe he's just a little more short-tempered, a little short in general when it comes to people, and he's still a good guy. He still smiles. He still kisses babies and signs autographs and takes pictures. But if someone comes at him sideways, he's a little less forgiving. I'm not sure, but I could see if we do get maybe the John Cena versus Cody match that I kind of predict at WrestleMania, and Cena does get the 17th time. Maybe that's Cody's breaking point. Maybe that's where Cody finally kind of turns heel, because now not only has everybody been on top of him and not kind of giving him a moment to breathe, but now he lost his title. He lost the only thing he kind of cared about here. So yeah, maybe that's the plan. But solid match. They did some crazy stuff, as you can imagine from a ladder match, or expect from a ladder match. They're going to do some crazy stuff. So yeah, solid match all around. I thought it was good. And I'm excited to see where Cody goes from here. I'm excited to see where Kevin goes from here, and if he's going to get that match with Sammy at WrestleMania, or maybe they're going to do him and Randy at WrestleMania. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to see where both guys go and where their stories kind of lead them. And the last match on the card is obviously the men's 30-man over-the-top rope Royal Rumble, where the winner gets his WrestleMania shot, similar to the women. My thoughts here, my prediction, who I thought was going to win and who I wanted to win, my personal choice and my prediction was John Cena there. I thought, this is the move, this is the moment. But going into it, I did kind of say, I think he's going to win. I want him to win. But if he doesn't win, I feel like he's probably going to win Elimination Chamber. That was always a thought in my head of, I want him to win. I think he's going to win. But yeah, if he did get eliminated, I don't think it's the end of the world. I feel like he doesn't win the Rumble, he's going to win Elimination Chamber. But it was more so the shocking thing of who ended up winning. I thought if Cena doesn't win, it's because Punk wins, or maybe somehow Roman wins for some reason, which I wouldn't really have wanted to see. No offense to Roman, I love Roman, but I thought, okay, if he were to get eliminated and lose the Rumble, it's because Punk is the one that's winning it. But it wasn't Punk. Punk got eliminated. Jey Uso was the one that won. Not sure. Obviously, people, he's so big with the fans, and people obviously were picking him. But I'm not so sure that people were picking him as a logistical choice, but people were picking him as a personal choice. I'm not sure if people were looking at the lay of the land and going, oh, yeah, it probably makes the most sense that Jey Uso is going to be the one that wins out of Cena, Punk, Drew, Roman, Rollins, Cena, Punk, Drew. There seemed like there were bigger names that logistically probably made more sense that would win. But as it happened, obviously I was in shock when Cena fell. I had jumped off the couch and I was standing in front of the TV like, whoa. But as I thought about it, it actually makes a ton of sense. Maybe to some people it doesn't make sense, but to me, it does make sense because I kind of have, I've been in the wrestling business for years at this point, for over 10 years at this point. I've been a booker, I've been a promoter. I kind of have that mind a little bit. So when my booker promoter mind, I guess, kind of took over, then I was like, no, this makes the most sense because other than like Cody, who's the champion, the guy that's moving the most merch and making the most moves and the guy that's the most over is Jey Uso. So in reality, it's not the guy that everybody wanted to win, that, oh, we want Cena to win, or we want Punk to win so he gets his main event, or we even want Roman to win so he gets, his title back or whatever. It was someone that came out of left field logistically to win, but it actually does make the most sense because, yeah, he is, the past year, he has been the most over guy other than, again, maybe Cody, who's already the main champion. Jey Uso has been the most over guy WWE has, with the Yeet taking over the world and basically, moving crazy amounts of merch, t-shirts and the sunglasses and action figures and plushies and all that stuff of Jey Uso and the Yeet slogan. So from that standpoint, it actually makes a ton of sense. Jey Uso is the guy that is the most over the past year, so he is the one that probably makes the most sense to win the Rumble. But it did kind of shock me. It kind of shocked a few people, but as I thought about it, it did make the most sense. I don't see Jey challenging Cody Rhodes for the title. I think this is Jey going after Gunther, for sure. I think, I think Gunther even tweeted that he's 3-0 against Jey Uso, so don't even try it, Jey. So already off the jump, I didn't see Cody Rhodes comment about Jey Uso winning, whereas Gunther already made 2 tweets about it, so I feel like that already tells you immediately that it's going to be Gunther. And the fact that Gunther is 3-0 over Jey Uso, where they just had their most recent match at Saturday Night's main event, I feel like, yeah, that's the plan. He won the Rumble. He's going to choose Gunther because he's got unfinished business, whereas he could go after Cody to get the big title, the main title, but he has no issues with Cody, whereas he already has issues with Gunther, and not only does he want the title, but he has 3 losses to this guy, so it makes the most sense for him to kind of go, no, I want that World Heavyweight title, And I believe when they get to Mania, he's going to win it. I think it would be pretty crazy for Jay to win the Rumble, to then pick Gunther, to then go to WrestleMania, to then lose for a fourth time to Gunther. That doesn't make much sense. That seems like it's overkill. So unless even though he's making them the most money other than Cody, unless Triple H just hates him for some reason, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's a long game. Okay, we have him down 3-0. He's selling the merch. Let's give him the Rumble win, and let's get him that world title at WrestleMania. And I think from there, if you really think about it, I think from there, that's where you could have then a few months later, Drew McIntyre maybe be the one to take it off of Jay, or at least take it off of Jay for a minute, and maybe Jay gets it back or something like that. But I feel like Jay and Drew is definitely, or Drew winning it from Jay after the fact in a few months down the line also probably makes a lot of sense. So Drew kind of gets his leg back a little bit, and then you can really kind of go full throttle on this feud with the title now, where Jay wants the title back from kind of his arch nemesis over the past year. But long-winded there, but yeah, Jay wins. To me, it made sense on a logistical standpoint, and I think he's definitely going after Gunther. I think Gunther and Jay makes more sense rather than the main event of WrestleMania being Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes. I think, I don't know, I feel like that would be a little weird if Night 2 main event was Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't sell like it should, whereas Cody Rhodes versus John Cena in the main event of Night 2 really sells it and really makes people go, okay, I need to see this. You know, doing a Cody versus John Cena is similar to a John Cena versus Roman or a John Cena versus Rock. It's here's the two, here's John Cena, who's been the top babyface in the company for like 20 years, versus the top babyface of the company for the past like 3 years. It kind of makes sense. It's a passing of the torch kind of moment where John will probably win the title, obviously, I hope, but it'll still be kind of like a passing of the torch thing. Even if John wins the title, it'll still be him going, this is the guy. This is the guy that I kind of leave it all to. But yeah, going back to Cena, he got eliminated. I was in shock. But in the post-show conference, he did announce he will be in the Elimination Chamber, something I theorized coming into it. Like I said, I figured he's winning the Rumble, but if he were to get eliminated, then he will be in the Chamber and he'll be winning the Chamber. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. He confirmed that he will be in the Elimination Chamber. It's as simple as that. I think, yeah, he announced he's going to be in it. He said he has to go back to continue filming the movie he was filming. So he basically is giving whoever else is in that chamber a month to run his name through the dirt and the mud, and come Elimination Chamber, he's going to be putting the boots to asses. He said, I think he said in the press conference that he thought the best thing to do, and obviously this is like kind of storyline, it's probably a little real before he started this, but it's also now probably part of the storyline of, he was saying, when I decided to do this, I thought it would be nice to come through and kind of just do a good deed for the fans and see them. But I've always done what's best for business, and I realized that this, as I got eliminated, I looked up and realized that was my last Royal Rumble, and I just kind of threw away the chance. And now I'm looking into Las Vegas, where I know that this is my last WrestleMania, and I don't want to throw away the chance. I know what's best for business, and what's best for business is me winning that championship for the 17th time. So I think that also kind of puts the nail in the coffin on are we sure that Cena really wants the title? Are we sure that he wants to do it? I feel like him saying that, storyline-wise, is him, his character going, I want to win the title, but I also feel like that's him kind of securing to everybody that he's probably going to win that title for the 17th time. So yeah, he's going to be in the chamber. Seems like he's not messing around. So it kind of even further cements my point that I'm pretty sure he's winning, and it'll be Cody versus John Cena at WrestleMania. That's going to be the big Night 2 main event, is, two different generations of the top guy going head-to-head, and Cena's going to hopefully win the 17th one, and like I said, maybe that's where Cody finally snaps and kind of turns heel. Going back to the actual Rumble, though, we had a cool little moment with Speed. Me, my cousin, and my friend Wyatt, we thought this was low-key or even high-key. This was the best moment on the whole show. He's not someone that's on the roster, which is crazy that he has, the highlight of the whole show, but it was so funny, the idea of Tozawa coming out and Melo beating up Tozawa, which he really didn't. He kind of just clopped him in the back, and Tozawa kind of died off that. But that whole part where he went into the gorilla and, Tozawa can't continue, and Triple H looks around and is like, Speed, you're in the Rumble. Like it was a really spur-of-the-moment thing that Speed was kind of just there with Stephanie McMahon looking at Gorilla, and it seemed like on his stream, Stephanie was just like showing him around, and it just so happened to be that he was there when they needed a body, and Triple H basically forced him out there. I thought it was great. He came in, he eliminated Otis, So that was funny. And then Braun Breaker just, oh my god, man. The three of us on the couch all audibly just yelled because we were like, holy, when Braun hit that spear, and it's nothing we haven't seen before. We see it every time he's in the ring. He runs those ropes 2 or 3 times, gets that crazy speed, and just runs through whoever's in the ring. But the fact that he did it to a poor kid that's not a wrestler, not a trained wrestler, although I'm sure they trained him how to, safely take a bump, or at least I hope they did. But someone who's not a trained wrestler, who's just, a kid who's streaming, the fact that he got run through and he got hit by a damn train named Braun Breaker was insane. That was a great moment. And then the whole moment where he gets thrown out, Otis catches him, and Otis throws him to the announce table. That gets Otis his moment back because he just got eliminated by a damn Twitch streamer. So Otis basically being the one that eliminates him, technically, Otis gets his deal back there. So that's cool. And Otis, we all three of us agreed this was probably the highlight of the whole show. One of the gripes I had with this, not very many. Again, this whole show I thought was great. I've been thinking about it for hours and hours and hours. As now it's 4:40 in the morning. One of the few gripes I do have with this was Braun Strowman. I don't think he should have been in this match. You had literally a week ago, and again, we all agreed sitting on that couch, we all agreed. A week ago, you had Jacob Fatu basically kill this man. This man was coughing up blood, so you could have imagined he has little internal bleeding, and a week later, he shows up at the Rumble totally fine. They didn't even try and put any bandages on him or anything. He shows up at the Rumble a week later completely fine, and he ends up being the one that eliminates Jacob Fatu. That was one of the few and probably only gripe I really had with the show was that I kind of thought he probably shouldn't have been in this match. They should have saved this for something else where, a month or two down the line he comes back and catches Jacob off guard in a match and costs him a match or something like that. That would have made more sense to kind of really sell the injury because, again, the guy was literally hit with like a million moonsaults a week ago and was coughing up blood and being like ambulanced out basically. So for him to kind of just show up here completely fine, not even selling the fact that, his midsection might be messed up still, I thought it kind of undercut Jacob Fatu a little bit and his ability, the fact that he basically really kind of fucked this guy up, and this guy, a week later is completely fine. That was the one thing I really didn't like about the show. Joe Hendry was the really big surprise here. I thought that was great. Big surprise, but also something that was very predictable. Everybody kind of figured it was going to happen. Everybody wanted to know if it was going to happen. There was some, I guess, discourse over it because I guess he was at WrestleCon, so he was in town, but they were saying that I guess he was supposed to be on the Jericho cruise and that he had to... I saw someone say that the WrestleCon workers, and I don't know if they were just working everybody or if that's what they were told or what they actually believed, but I guess the WrestleCon workers were telling everybody that Joe Hendry had to leave WrestleCon because he had to be on a flight at noon to then get onto the Jericho cruise or something like that. So, again, I don't know if they were smartened up and they were lying to everybody or if that's just what they were told. Chances are that's probably what they were told by Joe Hendry or Joe Hendry's people or whatever. There was kind of a discourse of people going, well, he's probably not going to be there because he's going to be, in the middle of an ocean. Nope, you were wrong. He clearly had to pull off of the Jericho cruise, which obviously is probably best for his career there because he shows up in the Royal freaking Rumble as the only true TNA representation because obviously Jordynne Grace is no longer a TNA knockout. She's a WWE superstar. So Joe Hendry was the only TNA representation, which totally fine with me. I did theorize or predict that I thought, Jeff Hardy was going to be in there or Matt Hardy or both of them, but I really wanted Jeff Hardy. I thought that would have been awesome because TNA representation, so you put over the partnership, but at the same time, he's a WWE legend that legitimately everybody loves, and he's also kind of past wrestling. Like, people who don't even really watch wrestling know who Jeff Hardy is because of when they were a kid and stuff like that. So I was hoping Jeff Hardy would have been in there, maybe next year. He was Joe Hendry, the current TNA champion, was the only TNA representation, but man, he got a pop. That was awesome. Good for him. And lastly, I have noted here that AJ Styles returned. This was the big one for me. AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler of all time, so I was really defeated when he got injured right after he basically came back from an injury, you know what I'm saying, and he got re-injured, and he had that one match with Melo. Minutes into that match, got hurt again. I was heartbroken because AJ, he's getting older, so I've the past couple years I've already kind of been thinking about, okay, he's probably going to retire soon, and it's gotten even worse seeing John Cena now is on his retirement tour. I really was like, okay, AJ's also, getting there. and he's also been vocal about it. He said, "Oh, he's only got a couple years left and whatnot." So when he got injured, came back injured again, I was kind of hoping for the best, but I was really thinking the worst. I was thinking that he may be done. So I'm glad he came back. There was a point too where I saw him in the corner talking to a referee, and then he got up and he was kind of limping, and I was like, "Oh my God, please God, don't tell me again he got injured." But I think maybe either he was just selling, or maybe he just had a little stinger, and he kind of was able to walk it off, because a couple minutes later he was walking totally fine. So either he completely worked me, or yeah, maybe he just had a little stinger that he was able to kind of rub away and whatnot a couple minutes after that. But yeah, that was a big one for me. He's my favorite of all time. So when I heard that, and he got his original music back, which I'm very happy about. I wasn't a big fan of the newer music that he had. So when I heard the OG WWE AJ music hit, I popped. I jumped off the couch. I was screaming, "Let's effing go!" So yeah, it was a big one for me. Another note though, there was no NXT representation in the Men's Rumble at all. I thought for sure we would have gotten Obafemi. Trick Williams was another one that I thought, maybe even a Tony D'Angelo. He's been in NXT for so long. I'd imagine he's close to a call-up in general. But just in general, he's been there for so long, and this man hasn't been in the Rumble, so I kind of figured maybe they would have been able to slide Tony D'Angelo in there, something like that. But yeah, no NXT representation. Maybe it was offset with the women getting a good amount of NXT representation there, and then the Men's Rumble getting the TNA representation with Joe Hendry. So maybe that's what they were thinking. Maybe Triple H went, we got the NXT people in one, and we got a TNA guy in the other to represent kind of both. But yeah, I would have loved to see Obafemi, Trick Williams, Tony D'Angelo, Javon Evans, even though he's kind of injured. But it would have been cool to see him. Ethan Page would have been awesome. Even like Axiom, Nathan Frazier would have been really cool. I just would have wanted one, It would have been really cool to see at least somebody in there. You could have kind of swapped someone out that's kind of was just filling the spot. You could have swapped them out for an NXT guy that would have kind of gotten a bigger reaction because of the surprise. But overall, I think this is one of the best Rumbles I've ever seen. I could be biased. I told my friends this. I could be biased because me and my cousin Theo were literally at the Rumble last year because it was in Tampa, St. Pete. We were there. So I could be biased and say that was the best Rumble ever. I could say the 2016 Rumble was the best because I was there too. And that is one of my favorites because that's where AJ debuted, and I was able to be there to see that live. So that was really cool. But I'm not going to be biased and say that. I'm going off of straight entertainment. This Rumble PLE is one of the best ones I've ever seen. I thought they did a great job advancing storylines, especially in the Men's Rumble. You had like 4 different storylines. You got the stuff with Roman and Punk and Rollins that I didn't even talk about, and I've got a whole theory about that I can make a whole separate video and probably will about, or I'll tie it into my WrestleMania thing because I think there's definitely something going on there with maybe a triple threat match or maybe Rollins versus Roman being announced, but Punk wants his main event, so he calls in the favor, and basically the favor is that he kind of tells Paul, I want that match, I want that spot, so either add me to it and Roman gets pissed, or I think it would be even bigger dagger if he tells Paul to take Roman out of it and give him the spot. So I'll go more in depth into that in another video, but yeah, I think they did a great job with the stories and at least the Men's Rumble. Character progression, I think, for sure, with Cody there in that ladder match. And it also leaves up in the air where Kevin's going to go from there. Tag titles, again, I think that was really to showcase the tag division, but also really showcase Motor City. And the Women's Rumble, you get Charlotte in there. I think the plan is Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton. So that's pretty clear cut, I feel like. You get the return of Nikki Bella, who is clearly back full time. You get the NXT pops. And again, I think the highlight there was you really kind of made a star in Roxanne Perez for people that didn't know her. That go, who is this girl? Well, whoever this girl is, she's small as hell, but she came in at number 3 and lasted till literally the last 2. So, overall, I think it was an incredible Rumble. So, yeah, it's the end of the video. It's 45 minutes long. I was trying to make this quick, but there's a lot to talk about, and I was very excited. And again, I couldn't sleep, so I had to get all this out. So, yeah, thank you. If you watch this whole thing, I appreciate you. Again, these are not, these are just my opinions. These are not stated facts or anything like that. So, again, if you don't agree, be nice, be chill. If you got something to say, if you got something you want to talk about, put it in the comments. Let's discuss it. Let's kind of, maybe dissect it even more, or put something that I missed, something that I didn't even think about in there. Let's build this community up. Like I said, between this on my channel and the OTS Project, I really want to build an awesome community of wrestling fans and just kind of nerds in general, like wrestling fans, Star Wars fans, Marvel fans. We want to kind of build that. I want to build that. Theo wants to build that between, again, my channel and the OTS Project. So you can find me here. You can find me at OTS Bridger on X and Instagram. You can check out the OTS Project or the OTS Project on the WNRN or on the OTS Project YouTube channel. Every week we got a podcast, different topic. It might be wrestling. It might be Star Wars. You never know. So, yeah, that's it. I think, like, subscribe, comment. Let's build that community up. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video.